Ready for some after-hours content from Tampa, Florida? No, I'm not talking about Mons Venus. I'm talking about G-rated content at the Florida International Audio Expo in the Popori Prodigio room. I ran a seminar both nights, and all of that was filmed by my friend Dave, and we've got that raw footage for you today. Stay tuned. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Just got back from the Houston Rodeo Cook-Off, as you can tell with my fit check. Although no boots. You do not want to wear boots or anything uncomfortable to the Houston Rodeo Cook-Off. You're going to be on your feet dancing or moving around the entire time. So I hope you've been enjoying my content, mainly on Instagram there. Follow me if you like to see more of the personal stuff. I actually sold a bunch of hats. This might become a full-time gig for me as well. Anyway, just email me if you're ever interested in these hats. But I wanted to get back to the Florida International Audio Expo in Tampa the weekend before, because I still have a lot of content to get to you on that. We've got a wrap-up video and other things I'm going to be sharing with you. Testimonials and all kinds of cool stuff. But this is the after hours I did both nights. And this is a great show for after hours. I mean, Tampa is a great venue. I mean, you've got Busch Gardens there. You've got the seedy nightlife if you want. You got Ybor City. You saw the restaurants that we went to, the Burns and the Haven and the casino. I mean, Tampa is a happening spot, and that hotel did a lot of improvements from the last year. So, and then the after hours for this show is top notch. Kora had, I think, Michael Fremer 1 or 2 nights spinning vinyl, some really rare stuff I heard. So for traditional audiophiles that like that kind of stuff, you had that. Gershman was just playing cool tunes and drinking cool rum all night. And then what I did, similar to last year, that resonated well, was do YouTube videos that I think resonate with both women, to parlay on my last video, women in hi-fi, but also young people, and both quality of recording as well as performance really stand out. And really, people didn't leave all night. In fact, they were there till like 3 in the morning, I heard one night. I go to bed pretty early, but one night it was like 3 in the morning. And so what you're going to see is Dave recorded everything. We started at 9. Normally we do the giveaways early, so you don't have to stay up late. We don't just clickbait you all night to stay for the giveaways. So you're going to see the game shows we did. We did Name That Tune, some raffles, and big shout out to the sponsors like Unique Home Audio. Mike Sweat gave away some of his personal stash of stuff from Viablue. Viablue donated a bunch of cool stuff both nights. Tons of giveaways we did. Spiritual Sound donated a $2,500 pure silver cable. They had the room with the Poporis in the 361, I believe, that really was wowing people, and they donated that cable. So some of the giveaways were very high quality, but you have to be there right near the start. That's when we do the giveaways. But we also did Tech Talk. We did talks with Sebastian, the guy with Spiritual Sound, others. I talked about the designs of the speakers, any questions that people asked. And then again, on top of that, the YouTube videos, which I think resonated with a cool amount of the people in the audience for a long time that night. So you're going to see this whole video. I am going to start doing this a little bit more outside of shows. DSS Audio in Carlsbad, California. I'm kind of partnering with them. I've already done one event at night and been there to kind of co-sponsor that night and do a presentation. I'm going to do that again in April with that dealer. They sell the Bach and the Popori, but I'm happy to do this with any dealer that sells high quality gear that I can endorse and be a fan of. If you want to work with me to do an event, a weekend event, I come there and we can do a presentation similar to what you're seeing here. We can do giveaways, we can do a presentation, talk about the tech stuff with the gear. I think it's a really good way than just people kind of randomly coming in the store and awkwardly trying to audition gear and talk. This is a little more casual, a little more fun, and I think it resonates with a wider audience than just you know, the normal experience that people get in a brick and mortar or searching online. So any dealers interested in that kind of thing, similar to what you're going to see here, just reach out to me, let me know. Happy to work with many of you guys, distributors too. As long as you have a location, we can do something. And I'm also very close on the Airbnb, but that's for a subject for another day. Let's get to Tampa, and thanks again to Dave for filming this. Enjoy, guys. All right, we're going to do Name That Tune. Let's just go the rules real quick. Raise your hand, I'll call on you. If it's early, like in the first 10 seconds, try to give the name of the song and the band, as we'll relax it to be just the name of the song or the band, depending on how long it takes. But 80s, you guys should know.
How far along in the liquor trail?
Yeah, do you know how many beers are in between me and 80s?
Ready? Yes.
No, I did go there.
Very hard.
I wear sunglasses.
That was my fault. Sorry. I told him, I said, he's going to show me. No, that doesn't count. I was reading on the screen. I knew that song because that was one of my favorites a long time ago. That's a badass song. I played this stuff at
Good thing we didn't give away the $2,500 cables that way. Give me another raffle item. That's not a raffle item, pose. Name that.
Reach out, touch He's banging.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
He's fast, man.
Good job. That is good. Thank you. That was impressive.
Let's do one more. Another one. St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty good.
Dude, this is the best music ever.
Well, you already won one though. We should have one.
Nice.
But
You should yell that to your friend.
Thank you. I'll give it to my buddy Tony. He's listening to stuff big time.
okay. So the tonight, what I was going to do is a couple things. Because we don't have the bucket, we're going to face that tonight. That's off the table. So what we can do is go back to videos, and I know many of you were here last night and enjoyed that. I have plenty more to show you guys on that front, which some of these tracks will actually showcase the speakers. I know some of you guys are here to hear the speakers and not so much the performance. And so we could play some of those tracks that showcase the speakers in the sub. We are going to have a raffle for $2,500 cables, courtesy of the room up in Spiritual Sound. 361. 361, if y'all haven't gone in there. It has the WR2s. And maybe you want to talk about your cables real quick before we give them away?
Sure, yeah. Whenever you guys are ready for that.
Come on up and tell the people so they are at least tempted to stay around. And
They're $25,000.
$25,000. Pure silver maybe get that pretty soon. He does pure silver.
They'll keep going up. Yeah. I'm Cameron. I own Spiritual Sound. We do solid silver cables. Yeah, just relocated from New York down into Florida, so this is now our home state. We're happy to be here, and this is our second show. We did Capital Audio Fest, and now we're here, and yeah, just very happy to be a part of the community. So the XLRs, given away, they're a meter set. I use a rectangular shaped conductor for both live, neutral, and the ground. They're shielded. The shield is floated. That's a solid silver shield that I have specially made. And then the connectors I use are an ACO connector that are solid silver. They're low mass, so the tube is hollow. They're fantastic. I mean, I don't know what you guys feel about cables. I wasn't a cable guy until I heard it. And then just my crazy ADHD, I had to know how it worked. And then, you know, a year and a half later, I had to open a company, I guess, to share it all. So.
And you debuted at Exponent, was it?
No, at Capital Fest.
Okay.
Yep. That was our first show, and it just went so well, and then here we are. So.
And maybe give people your feedback. It's always good to hear another vendor's feedback with the Poporis and with the AGD and your other stuff in there.
Yeah, and so it's kind of funny how it all worked out. Is that my home system? I have the AGD Solos, and my buddy has SoundLab panels, which are almost as good as these. So I kind of voice my cables on a similar system that just so happens that like I'm using here now. So it's a real treat to be able to, you know, have that kind of ability. Yeah.
You're running AGDs on SoundLab? How many?
Yeah.
How many AGDs?
Just solos. So those are like the 400 watts. Yeah.
And I don't think we talked about the Poporis too much. Why do they sound as good or better than any bigger sound lab? Well, the technology that they use is a little bit different, and what impressed me and why I use these as my reference is what they thought of much better is that they increased the excursion of the driver. And that is not easy to do, but what they found out, it's a much better trade-off. You can move more air. It's a physics equation. And each model, you can see it'll calculate what it can do with the panel size and the excursion. But it doesn't require now a bass module at the bottom. These actually do go to 20 hertz. But what we found is that it rolls off at the top end. And that's actually a better trade-off than a panel that rolls off at the bottom end. And then you have to put this big, like Martin Logan does, a big driver at the bottom. It resonates the cabinet, doesn't lose it slower than this. It's never, I've owned Martin Logan. It's a great speaker. Otherwise, that trade-off, it's really great. This doesn't have that trade-off. The only trade-off it has is at 20,000 hertz, this is more rolled off. Starts to roll off roughly around 8,000 hertz. So what they did is a much more elegant solution and smarter, in my opinion. It's just added a tweeter. And this tweeter is high pass, so it's not crossed over. This is still running full range, but this just kicks in at 8,000 hertz to fill in where this panel now rolls off a little bit more because they wanted it to get good bass. And so when I heard that solution, this was the holy grail for me, holy grail for Ralph Karsten. He even used those words himself, because one speaker driver doing everything, you can't get more coherent than that. When you're trying to mix, you know, a beryllium tweeter, as good as that is, and then you mix it with a paper cone or, you know, ceramic mid-range and then a paper big woofer, all overlapping, and they inevitably play over each other at different parts in the cabinet. A line source with one driver doing everything doesn't have that problem. So one of the things that people always remark is you hear more detail, it's less muddy, it's more coherent, and then that high-pass tweeter just accentuates. And they also came out with an ultra panel they'll be coming out with, which is a full-range ribbon, a full-range electrostatic that would attach here, and you can actually bypass this. Extra cost involved to do that, not necessary, as you can hear with this speaker, but for those that would just want pure extra ribbon potential, electrostatic potential, that's going to be something that Gary Gill with the other show, Capital IFS, has already implemented successfully in his system. So that's just a little bit more about the technology behind this speaker. And this, I don't know what y'all think about the aesthetics, but to tell you the story behind it, I was at Munich and I was going to see the Metaxas booth, because that was the speaker I was interested in. Metaxas electrostatics were cool looking, small form factor, and they promised me it would do bass. Well, I believed them until I went down to Florida on a special trip. I documented the whole thing, went and heard them, and they didn't. They didn't hit the goal. So they told me go to Munich and they're gonna have a bigger one, and I could do that. On the way, Popori was right across the hallway from them, and the guy pulled me in. He said, "You gotta hear these." And I didn't realize I'd heard them before, and the logo was blocked, and they super impressed me. And then on the way out, the guy showed me a picture, and it was these speakers on a, I said, "Oh my God, that's the most awesome speaker I've ever seen." He's like, "Yeah, we haven't done it. This is just a mock-up, you know." I thought they had actually built it. I said, "Well," eventually we talked. I said, "If you build this, I'll buy it." Just kind of half joking, but half, I was like, "Yeah, if you can make this, I'll definitely, get it." Well, they did it within 3 months.
Wow.
And so that impressed me as well. A company that not only listens to it, yes, okay, I'm an influencer, maybe I got a little more preferential priority, but still, for a company to do that and put the attention to it, and it was something they wanted to do anyway. They since have added the lighting structure, which I think is cool. It can turn on and off. But it really impressed me so much that, and then Mike Sweck heard about it, he decided to import this speaker, because in this business, when you get to know people behind the brand that are like that, it's much more rare than you think, okay? A lot of these fancy brands don't have that kind of attention to detail and customer attentiveness. It's more about whatever can make them money. This was an investment that Popori made, hopefully to pay off, an investment Mike made, hopefully to pay off, and I think it has. But that takes a little bit of foresight. And so a company that does that, I'm happy to put my name behind it in terms of representing it in my home, and now I'm a dealer for it. And you can always come to my home in Houston if you want to hear it. With the Bach, that does work. So I apologize for not having the Bach, but let's go ahead and maybe play a little bit of the video stuff if you want to turn on the video.
That reminds me of the Burj Khalifa to the max.
The what?
The Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
Oh, yeah.
That totally reminds me of the Burj
So
Khalifa.
yeah, sailing or that building.
Yeah, exactly.
That building.
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah, so actually we're going to be showcasing maybe at some yachting shows and
It reminds me of that.
because people are now putting high-end audio systems on their yachts.
Oh, yeah.
It's one way to keep up with the Joneses. All these guys like to flex.
No, they got
their
multiple
yachts.
statements, room
Yeah,
statements, absolutely.
They are putting in million-dollar systems in their yachts now.
Now, these are a retail one?
Roughly 100,000,
Okay.
probably a little less. This is actually, they have another model even higher with more panels for people that really want to play dynamically. At
No, because you can
concert
see the
level.
movement of the actual, I mean, you
can
can
see it, yeah.
see the excursion.
What they're going to do, the full mega reference eventually is smash these two together for one channel and two more on that.
Sweet.
So you'd have even, but we could play Queen Mary here. It's going to rattle the room, In fact, last night it was knocking down the tile. So I think I need to sign in, don't I, Bobby? For us to use our system more. We are always watching TV anyway. Why not have good sound with it? We're always watching YouTube. In theory, we're watching YouTube. Why not have better sound? And what I found is that, yes, YouTube gets a bad rap because of resolution and these cell phone camera recordings that are, distorted. But there's a lot of good stuff, and that's what I wanted to showcase with this playlist. This is what got me started, though. This song here was recorded with street musicians all around the world, and this guy did the most masterful mastering job, as you witnessed. Got all these people to sync in time to create one song that was amazing. And it's not even high resolution. It's way back to 10, 12, 15 years old. But once I saw this, I realized the importance of this, because not only I ordered the CD, but I just couldn't stare at a wall and listen to the song. This video is much more enjoyable to me, seeing the performers, seeing these people behind the voices, and it just gave me a new level of appreciation that our visual sense makes a difference. So I'll play this for you. It's a repeat from last night. We'll play some new stuff after this.
This song says, no matter who you are, no matter where you go in your life. Thank you.
It's a masterpiece of mastering, but also it shows you street musicians, the talent that they have compared to what we're listening to sometimes on TV. Regardless of what halftime show you watch, you can't find anybody with this kind of talent nowadays. And they're on the street. And so this is part of why I think YouTube is so important, because this gives you an appreciation for what it took. If you just heard it on a CD, on a stream, you may not appreciate fully
the visual helps.
Yeah. And so forget about the resolution and, being neurotic. I just went to the seminar today, Women in Hi-Fi, and it was so good to hear the dichotomy between guys and girls and why sometimes we as guys turn off women to the hobby, because we're so neurotic about it's about the music, and if you're enjoying it, why sweat? That it's YouTube compression or whatever. If you can get an enjoyment from that, and I guarantee you next time you hear that song Stand By Me, you're going to think of this video, not anything else, and you're probably going to benchmark whatever you're hearing to this. So again, that was the point of last night, and what I'm going to continue tonight showing you is some other examples of how we can use our system, use YouTube, Netflix, whatever you use for your video playback, DVDs that you dump to a hard drive. I build a server that allows this to happen, because that's the other pet peeve, is some of these servers don't have video capability, and I just think that's
Is that a 4K capability or 8K capability?
4K, yeah, 4K. Nice. Now we can build one with more capabilities, but there comes a point where
Memory gets crazy,
and then the fans can create noise, so it's a trade-off there.
That's awesome.
We'll do the giveaway after one more song. What I wanted to show you guys, let me see if I can find this other, before we get to, while we're on the subject of street musicians, here's a perfect case of, I think you're going to really enjoy this because this young girl's voice is incredible, and the guest that just interjected himself during the street performance is going to blow you away. But it's recorded with very primitive, and they're using very primitive PA system. But again, it echoes the point I just made. I don't think at the end of this, you're going to say it matters. I think you're going to enjoy and appreciate the talent regardless of this not being a studio fancy recording. And you'll be like, I wish I was there for this. There's nothing great about the PA speaker they're using, what we recorded, but almost anybody, I can't imagine anybody not appreciating the talent. Yeah,
Moves your soul.
it's like it boils this hobby down to why are we neurotic about so many things when this can sound so good and make us enjoy it? And guess what? This will attract other people because you can play this for your daughter, your neighbors. They can all figure out now, oh, wow, now it sounds great on your, it's better than what they're used to hearing it on. So, but then I'll play for you, or we want to do some, we want to go ahead and do the, let's do the raffle and then the, we're going to give away the $2,500.
I got more raffle stuff though before that.
Oh, even before this? Okay. Okay.
I don't know what it is.
First round.
I don't know what this guy's stuff about.
What is this?
It's an outdoor amplifier, Bluetooth, something or another. It's random Amazon package for Mike. Yeah. I took out my neighbor's Porsche. I'm like, this is a good giveaway. Could be a razor or a candle.
Well, actually, the car audio guys, yeah.
Is that one of those porch pirate things?
It's like one of the migrated his neighbor's porch. All right. I'm going to put that down and then pick a number out. You have to be present to win, so we're going to see. I need the light here.
I'm not just like the best thing ever.
229.
That's me.
Wow. Winner. First pull.
Went away on it? Can I trade it for the cable?
I know, yeah. Unfortunately, now you're out of luck.
Enjoy the candle.
No, it's okay. We trust you.
You figure out what it is, that's all I know.
So real quick,
Come in the car?
I'm going to ask Sebastian to come up here and talk a little bit about his sub for the people that don't know, because it's a really cool story. Last year is when I met Sebastian. He was just a subscriber and he came up to me with an idea. He's a student that has studied and worked with 3D printing, and he had an idea for speakers and in particular sub we decided to pursue first. And this is the evolution of a year's worth of hard work behind the scenes with himself, Mike, and myself, and vetting different drivers, different vendors for doing 3D printing. And let me just tell you, it's not, never works on the first try, even second try. It's a long process. But maybe Sebastian could tell those who weren't here last night or don't know a lot about it, a little bit of the backstory and the technology behind it.
Yeah, so essentially, the line of reasoning was to kind of, there are a lot of systems where they try to correct for nonlinearities in the enclosure. Well, there's a lot of loudspeaker systems or subwoofer systems where they try to correct for nonlinearities in the enclosure of the drivers. A big thing that comes to mind is like a servo system. But that merely is correcting the symptom, not the cause. So the desire was to entirely remove the cause of muddy bass, poor transients, high harmonic distortion, which has kind of become acceptable in the industry. I mean, you're getting mega dollar subwoofer systems that are putting out 20% THD, and people are not only buying them, but they're actually just kind of embracing them. And it's just been a compromise for decades. So by marrying an enclosure that is completely dead inert with drivers that have no magnetic memory effects, no surround radiation distortion, you kind of get a degree of bass that is, it's kind of frightening because it starts and stops on a dime just like an electrostatic, but you also don't have to compromise with having subwoofers the size of your house, like you do if you're doing a dipole or an open baffle system. So the enclosure itself is a glass fiber reinforced polymer, and that essentially means that there's millions of tiny little bits of glass that's embedded inside this polymer matrix. What happens is that any stored energy is converted into heat because those bits of glass fiber enter a state of viscoelastic shear, which essentially means you're turning something into heat via vibration. Yep. And we didn't want to stop there. So the shape, although it looks similar to the Vitorlas, it was merely serendipitous because this structure was optimized to maximize geometric stiffness. So, in traditional box subwoofer, you have to have extensive bracing for those high pressures and those high panel resonances that occur. But instead, when you have a composite enclosure paired with a mathematically optimized curvature, you actually are enhancing the stiffness without adding too much material. And the other benefit of a curved structure is that it's actually, instead of having a flexural stress like you do with a traditional panel that acts like a drum head, it's actually converting that stress into tensile stress, which is not audible. So the other marriage of it is the drivers. They're custom-made, purified 10-inch drivers. The magic behind them, I'm sure some of you've probably seen the surrounds and you're like, oh, those look a little funky. Or some of you see them and you think they're very cool. But the magic behind that is that it's a constant surface surround, so it minimizes surround radiation distortion because it stays, the surface areas maintain the exact same over the entire linear excursion range, which is pretty much unheard of in any dynamic driver. And then the magic of the magnet system is it's a neodymium/ferrite hybrid, and the neodymium arrangement actually cancels out the magnetic memory effects that occur from the iron domains. So especially in subwoofers where it's a high current application, the magnetic domains inside the iron, you can think of it as like millions and millions of tiny little particles that it receives a signal and it moves in one direction. But often it does not actually end up changing once it receives a different signal. But what purifiers manage to do is actually cancel out those nonlinearities. So essentially you're staying entirely faithful to the source signal. Shoot.
On the magnets, is that a neodymium, like say 42 and a Y35 ferrite combo?
Yeah, actually, pretty much.
Perfect.
It's just a specific arrangement.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
And the bottom line is the distortion level is so low compared to other speakers that we were shooting for the highest level, reference level models of others, and the distortion level with these drivers and these cabinets is significantly lower. And what does that pay off? Well, we're going to play a track, Queen Mary, that I think many of you have heard before, but I've never liked it with a lot of systems because, especially a one box enclosure, symmetrically loading in the room, you will naturally have peaks and dips. A sub can help both excursion and amplitude, but it also offsets any room issues for the most part, but also the start and stop capability he was talking about and low distortion. In some respects, you might perceive it as even less bass, but these go below to 15 hertz flat is what we were getting about.
I mean, Exhibit A.
Yeah, that was knocking off.
Yeah, we'd have poor Mike over here climb up and relatch the light with the audio quest.
But you're going to probably hear with Queen Mary that we play next, the precision of which, number one, it keeps up with the Vitorlas, but the start-stop and some of the texture and detail and decay that you get from the bass that you probably will not get. And I encourage you, tomorrow, go play that song anywhere else and hear more of a one-note, loaded kind of... We're not bothered as much by bass distortion, but it's there when you start hearing without this distortion. So without further ado, we'll let you be the judge.
You know what, the comments you made earlier on the Martin Logans and stuff, the Renaissance 15As, my buddy's got those. And the problem is that the stat panel, about 230 hertz or whatever and above, the stat takes over, and it's nice. The problem is that big driver on the bottom, it does not keep pace. I don't care what anyone says, it does not keep pace with the speed of the stats. And
the other thing,
They'll tell you
the most important thing with any speaker nowadays is not to buy a speaker. I tell this to people all the time, do not buy a speaker with bass drivers on the bottom if it's rolled off, if that bass driver is going to be playing much over 100 hertz. So that's what you're seeing with Martin Logan.
They don't even roll it up to 200 hertz.
And that's their second best offer.
You can localize bass at anything over 100 hertz roughly. So what ends up happening when you go listen to a lot of these speakers here that have bass drivers in the bottom and they're playing above 100 hertz, most of your sound stage is this high at most. And especially when a male vocal comes in or whatever, the sound stage will actually drop even lower because that bass driver is playing up into a level that you can localize and it's down on the floor. That's why you still want a full range speaker with a sub. These don't roll off until like 65 hertz. So this is not playing anything that's localizable. It will image the bass high up. And so that's a very important point. And one reason why I'm not a big fan of most Bach speakers and Martin Logans, because they start playing bass from the floor that you can locate too high up in the frequency range.
Your ear catches it and it allows you to do it.
So this will be a good track to play. You ready?
Sorry to interrupt.
And how old are you?
23, just.
Mine is 22. That's pretty impressive.
So it's one of the cool things about this album. We see a lot of females in the audience. We see young people with David Chesky and Sebastian. This is what we want to foster. And thank you guys for showing up for this and supporting these guys and that's what I'm doing with my channel because this is where the future is going to be. We need to pass off the hobby in good hands. So let's hear the result of his work, the Poporis, and the rest of the stuff we have. Kora amps.
I think I forgot to mention these are all made in one piece. Yeah.
I'm also going to play a video that has some bass tracks too. But I think we're going to go ahead and give away $2,500 cables next. And then you're going to pick a song while I'm doing this for name that tune.
So this is the cable?
Yeah, we're going to do the cable.
Well, where's camera?
Yes.
Yeah, you should probably present it and give it away.
Oh, sure.
Also, I want to give a shout out real quick to Norman Barney. He does EVPs that are vibration control, really important sometimes when you have subs, especially in a foreign room and it's not really designed for listening rooms. It could rattle a lot of stuff. We can't do so much with the ceilings with it, but it's doing a much better job than just being on the floor. Something that you need to do is decouple your speakers. Vibrations can get into the floor, get into your feet, get into the walls, and the walls will sing along with your music. And that is a corrupting aspect that people often forget about. So vibration control can be snake oil if it's just BS type products, but even Sorbiting alone and these more advanced products that Norman Isoacoustic makes, they do have a measurable and AB difference. I would encourage you to try Norman stuff, or you can go to the Isoacoustics room here. They have an AB live demo you can try yourself.
So what are the weight of these?
What is the exact weight, Mike, of the Vitorlets?
The weight?
Yeah,
About 168.
168.
yeah. It's all bass head. I mean, at the bottom half. So carrying them is kind of awkward, but yeah. We got them upstairs in my room.
So you guys definitely recommend isolation. Basic.
Isoacoustics make custom footers for mine, and I'll be doing it.
I'm not looking, is that a 3-point or a 4-point?
3 point. Yeah, 3 points.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So that's always more
That's the
stable.
best way.
3
Yeah,
points.
it's always guaranteed stable no matter what.
Yeah. All right. These are for the $2,500 cable. I need the light for this.
You got another
One fell out, so let's go ahead and go with that one. That's as
Magic
random as
number.
they get. 260.
I'll go on that too.
No?
260.
Oh, you got it? All right.
Video verification.
There you go. Awesome. What a coup.
Sell on eBay. Oh, sure, yeah.
And then you've got a song.
Yeah.
Now, still time to win. What is this here?
That is foldable camping type cooler thing. Still, my neighbor's
Folding
porch.
camp- Yes. Best choice for picnic. Okay. Perfect gift for family. A lot of marketing on it. Made in China. Okay. Ready? All right. Raise your hand. Let's see who can get it.
Terror free.
If you've already won, no, you're disqualified. Try to.
Well, you're only supposed to have one.
Walk like an Egyptian.
1 o'clock in the. Wow. Pretty good. Wow. Good. That's impressive. Do another one. Give another song. One more, yes. What is this?
Yeah. That is
Oh, this is one of those massage guns.
Again,
It's one of Mike's personal massages. May or may not be used. Mike's personal massager. Signed by. Actually, speak while they're finding a song. Have y'all been watching this guy? Have y'all been watching that guy Clavicula? Have you heard of this guy?
Who?
He's become a sensation within the last 2 months. He's like a 21-year-old kid who is going viral. You know about him, don't you, Luke? He punches himself in the face to make it. He's like looks maxing. He's copying off of me. But no, what he does is he does these extreme things to look better. And what he does is he uses these massagers and he does it on his cheek to create micro fractures. And supposedly, when the bone regrows, it grows a little bit. And so he's increasing his cheekbone so he has a more V-shape. He does meth, so he keeps himself thin. Like this guy, he was just on Piers Morgan, New York Times. This guy is crazy. Right? Luca, you've seen this guy, right? Yeah. This guy, whoever punches themselves in the face wins the prize. Yes, you can. I do not advise punching yourself in the face with this. Gets rid of wrinkles. Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm really good by now.
All right, you ready, guys? There we go.
That's right. Yeah, walk to the left. Right.
Make sure.
We gotta see this through.
You are
Man-eater. Give it to one of the ladies.
Huh?
Man-eater. Give it to one of the ladies.
Okay, who?
Pick the ladies. Your choice.
One of the ladies already won it. We have another lady up here. You haven't won. He's gifting you.
Yes.
He's gifting you the massage.
He's an 80s music fiend. So he keeps
I love the 80s.
I'm the same way, but I can't participate. So.
Okay, so tell Mike, let's switch back over to the video. So one of the things I can showcase for you guys is a song that, it's not really a song, this is a cool, it's a video that actually shows sound waves.
Vibrations.
Yeah, it's the vibrations.
Shows vibrations.
Kind of like a little bit, and it's played with a song that is all digital, but it's very cool visually speaking, and also testing your speakers. It can be used as a reference track. So yeah, it's very visually stimulating. I actually saw this at CEDIA, where a lot of people don't think of CEDIA as a good audiophile show, but things like room treatments, stuff like that, you see much more vendors there for that than you do here. How many room treatment vendors have you seen in one room? Very few. That's an important part that people overlook. So these other shows are worth going to. But there's also a lot of home theater demos, and I saw this, and it's on YouTube, and you can play it in 2 channels.
Yeah.
Is it ready to be played yet?
I just walked out.
Do these benefit significantly from diffusers and all that stuff?
Yeah. Well, usually these are very immune to sidewall and definitely immune to ceiling and floor.
Because there's very low play on the sides.
Line sources don't radiate much forward ceiling. So that takes 2 surfaces that most speakers have to worry about less in the equation.
Yeah.
Doug has the WR2s that are in the spiritual sound room, and he knows it's right next to a window, and it doesn't impact them at all because these are very controlled directivity. The one thing you do have to worry about with these, if you are going to put them close to the back wall, you should treat the back wall with
You
absorption.
preferably want like 5 feet away though, right?
3 feet is the minimum, but yeah, 5 feet or more. Now, what these do have, if you don't have DSP or whatever treatments, they do give you these tunable things that can help address any issues you might have. You can pull them all out if you
Are those
want.
belts or?
No, they're just foam.
Oh, foam.
So they can control. And really the way the panel works is like tweeter, mid-range, bass kind of, think of it, so you can actually slide it. And so this is a level of tunability that you don't get with most speakers, even $100,000 or more speakers. So that's a good question because mating a speaker to your room, they want to make sure that these fit anywhere. So You're ready. Are we ready? So let's play this cymatics. I think you'll really like this.
They do this with the samples and all that.
You probably played this one. The #1 DVD I've ever bought, other than maybe Roger Waters' The Wall, was Andrea Bocelli in Tuscany. It is the most beautiful venue, especially if you watch the earlier part of the concert where it's still daylight. It is just to die for. And if you
With sunset.
Gold Note is actually one of the high-end companies located there. I toured there. It is just the most beautiful facility I've ever toured. But they say he comes there quite often to sing. So if you ever want to plan a trip to Italy, plan to go to Tuscany and look and see if Andrea Bocelli is playing there. That would be worth your while. What I wanted to play for you is his famous track, and he does it with Sarah Brightman. Like, she is like,
awesome.
Like, girl, I mean, like, I don't know how guys just don't run up to her and give her an engagement ring that, like, she's amazing. I mean, and then Andrea Bocelli is obviously, without saying, one of the best. But this is a live concert that, again, if we played this, the streaming version, if we played the studio version, if we played even this without the visuals, it wouldn't have the same impact of seeing these two perform. And the venue as well.
È una veramente, credo che non mi resti altro da dire se non time to say goodbye.
So a song, sometimes what you'll find on YouTube is when a band is playing live, especially if they're not just going through the motions, and especially if they're playing at a great venue like Royal Albert Hall, which, by the way, I did Adele at Royal Albert Hall. They have it on analog tape in the Von Schweikert room. They played that. That's amazing. When people play at venues like Royal Albert Hall, they want to perform well, especially when they're being videoed. So Snow Patrol is a band that you've probably heard, and you've probably heard this song, but you've probably heard it on an elevator, and you're in the backdrop, and you've probably given it no time of day. You probably not even cared about it, at all. However, by chance, I was just letting the thing play through, and this came up, and I was on my headphone, like, holy crap, what song is this? And then I recognized the song, and then I was like, never heard it like this before. And it was the band just reworking this song with an orchestra behind it. And what's interesting, it's one of their hit songs, and even the audience doesn't know until partially in what song they're playing. You can tell when they start cheering, they're like, oh wait, this is the song. So I want to play it for you because it shows the venue, it shows a cool visual, and this is a song that normally is elevator music, but by the time it ramps up at the end, of course it's a little bit of a long song, 7:30, but with the orchestra involved and the band, it's really impressive to me.
How many terabytes is your music and video service?
This is just streaming.
Oh, you're streaming? Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody.
So what I wanted to do, now we're talking about concert venues and videos that you can enjoy. This one has personal relation to me because I went to a Coldplay concert totally not knowing the band at all. I just heard of it, and maybe I heard Yellow or something. I knew a few of their songs. And I went, and it was at a small venue. They weren't even that big at the time. It was up in the Woodlands in, not even in Houston. They weren't big enough to do the big venues. And I was in the pit. I actually got tickets in the pit. And so I was enjoying the concert. It's an outdoor arena, very good acoustics in an outdoor arena. And they are quite good live. And in fact, they are so much better live that I can't even listen to their studio stuff. And this song, Fix You, now this is a concert, I think, in Brazil or something, once they were huge. I've never had an experience at a concert or had a song where so many guys and girls will cry during the song, will actually have an emotional connection. Usually it's the girls are fine, like an Adele song, Someone Like You, they're bawling their eyes out thinking, but the guys are like, uncomfortable. Guys aren't gonna cry to Adele as much, although we talked about one last night. But I was in the thing and they played Fix You, and this is a really cool track, not the studio version, but But when they do it live, they build it up, and it's one of these songs that starts slow, really builds up, fireworks. And when I was live at this, it was just insane. And I turn around and guys are crying, people are singing at the top of their lungs. This one's going to be, I think, Sao Paulo. But you're going to see that in this example. But this was even before they were big. This song and this band is something that I think you definitely have to see live or watch a concert live to get an appreciation for Coldplay, different from what you could play on streaming. So it fits the theme, and that's why I want to show.
The Brazilian culture, though, they know how to live.
But, yeah.
Really try your best, but you don't succeed. Get what you want, but not what you
I'm going to play for you just a music video, because sometimes the music video, they put some effort into them. It's not like, and in fact in the 80s, didn't we grow up just memorizing these videos and waiting for them to come on? They were so cool, and that was such a part of what we enjoyed about the song was the videos, and we still to this day, we think of these videos. Yeah, like Simply Irresistible, you immediately think of the girls, you know, it's like, but nowadays we don't really pay attention to the music videos, but bands like Imagine Dragons has good percussiveness, and they have good videos too, and this will showcase the system as well from a percussive standpoint. So I'm just going to play a normal YouTube video, and all of their modern songs usually have a video, so you can at least check out what the artist tried to do and whether they put effort into it or they didn't. This one's kind of a bizarre video actually, but it's cool to watch, just the way it's filmed.